Hi all, another update to the 728. You can see I've now got the first coat of epoxy primer on the worst bits of the paint, i.e. the top surfaces. So I sanded it all right back and epoxy coated that, and that's going to stay like that for a while now until painting season comes along again in September, October. In the meantime, I'm going to have a look at the interior and going to focus on a couple of things over the next few weeks. So I hope this video will be made up over the next few weeks. I'm going to be refurbishing these seats. They are pretty sad. The driver's seat in particular, it has got a very flat bolster here, and it's got rips in the back bit. The passenger seat is okay, as they usually are. It's worn as well. I have cleaned them extensively so far with just liquid sugar soap. But yeah, what I've done is I've bought a spare seat from a local pick apart place. This is a passenger seat, and I am planning, as you can see, I have taken the base off the seat and I've given it an initial clean. Quite a bit of stuff's come off already, and that base is going onto the frame of the car seat. I've done this before in an E39. It's quite a successful swap over to rejuvenate your driver's seat by putting a passenger seat on. Did that on the 740. And the back, I've taken off the frame obviously, and I've given that an initial clean as well. That part there is new, came with the car, and I've just ordered another one for the driver's side. So both of those will be new and fresh. The headrest motor in the car is not working properly. It only goes up and only goes down to a certain extent. That one does work, although it has got a braking plastic piece on it that were vulnerable on these. So I'll keep an eye on that. I'll see what I can do as far as swapping anything over is concerned. So that's the plan. I'm also going to be replacing, I think I've already mentioned this, is replacing the headliner with a black set. I've got a black headliner, black A, B and C pillars. This headliner is coming unstuck. I've stapled it and it's got a manky hole in it and coming unstuck. So, and I'm also going to be replacing the sunblind and subwoofer with freshly covered black ones. So I've got all the items I need to do the conversion. There's some visors and handles there. That's the non-sunroof E38 black cover that's going in, and up there I've got some A, B and C pillars. Some I need to repair. I bought some repair kits for the pillars, for the mounting tabs, so that'll be getting done. So this is probably going to be my winter sort of focus until it's time to hit the paint again. So I'll do this video over a series of videos and try and stitch them together with my unique video editing skills, which are almost non-existent. But hopefully the next step is using some prep. Actually, I'll show you the products I'm using. I've got everything except the preparation solution. But the colorant I'm using is from Furniture Clinic in the UK, and that's BMW Montana Sand Beige, the exact match. It's the colour. I've got some leather binder, strengthening, and Crosslink Eco. They're just strengthening elements for the leather. I've got some Flexi Fill for deep scratches or tears, and after you put the colour on, you have to put a finisher on, and I'll be using this. You use a mixture of gloss and matte to get the sheen that you require, either full gloss or full matte, or somewhere in between. And I think on BMW apparently you use about 75% matte, 25% gloss to get the finish, but very important that that is sprayed on afterwards. I've got an airbrush coming, and I've bought some small 0.8mm tip spray gun, a spray gun as well. So the first coat of colour goes on with the sponge, dab that on after you've prepped it all, of course, and then subsequent coats are with a spray gun or an airbrush. A little way from that yet. As I say, the next step is using this solution to prep the surface. You basically got to take all the existing stuff off that was originally done, or off to an extent where it's ready to receive further treatment. Further treatment might be filling in some deeper sort of creases, maybe. There's no holes luckily in this. You'll use a scouring pad with the solution to rub it right back. You can use wet and dry sandpaper, and if you use the flexi fill, you have to use the wet and dry sandpaper to fix it up as best you can. Rub it all down with isopropyl alcohol, and then start the colour. So we're a little way from that yet, but in the next magical edition, which will appear in a few seconds for you, not for me, we'll be into the prep stage. And see you soon. The next step in this process is to use a preparation solution along with a green scuff pad and some cotton balls in it to retain the prep as you soak it in, otherwise it just goes straight through. And then you rub this back all over with the green pad until it says the colouring starts to come off. So I've actually done that for this base, for this back, and I'm about to do it for the base. This is the spare seat I've bought, which is in better condition than the driver's seat. There's some areas where I might use some filler and maybe sandpaper, it says, to rub these back a bit more, depending on how far back you want to take it. They might be just deep creases that, to be honest, I'd be happy for them to stay there. It gives you a bit of a character and age to the car. But yeah, I'm just about to commence this base here. Partway through, you can see a lot of the surface dirt and grain stuff is being removed. Make sure you got adequate ventilation when you're doing this. It does stink a bit, the solution, and wear gloves too if you feel you need to. Okay, so about 15 minutes later, I have scoured that down with the solution. I've done the headrest as well. So the seat leather is done. I've just got to do the backing board as well. And I've used about that much of the leather prep bottle on basically one seat. So yeah, factor that in. So the next step is there are some rougher areas I'm going to try some sandpaper on. There, maybe a bit in here as well, to try and get those a bit down and smoother a bit. Okay, the sanding is done. I'm just letting them sit in the sun to dry out a bit. You can see I did a fair bit of sanding there for a kind of a deeper crack, and I've been sanding the base of the seat too to get it smoother. The next step is to use this product leather binder and that is a thin liquid used to strengthen heavily worn and cracked leather. So I'm just going to wipe it in 3 coats of leather binder to the damaged area with a sponge, drying between coats, sand smooth with 1200 grit. Once smooth, apply colour. So yeah, we're getting close. I'll just let this dry. I'm going to put the binder on, and then next steps. Okay, I've done the leather binder to strengthen these rougher patches that have had a lot of wear, including here. I think I'm going to now put a bit of flexi fill into this area here and then sand it over just to get that looking a bit smoother once the paint goes on. But once that's on and sanded, and I will then run over the whole lot with some alcohol cleaner, isopropyl alcohol on a cloth, and it's ready for colour. The first coat of colour is done using a pad, applicator pad, and we've got the colour BMW Montana Sand Beige, and we'll get into that. And then, but once the first coat is dabbed on that sponge, you've got to move to a spray. I have bought a cheapy small nozzle, I think it's 0.8mm nozzle spray gun from China, no tariff. And I've just bought an airbrush. Maybe I'll use that to do some finer parts in the car, like C-pillars or bits and pieces that I just need to touch up here and there, or doors, the leather on the doors. But we'll see how we go. Maybe a bit of experimentation. So that's the next steps, getting there. Maybe overboard a bit on the flexi fill, but I kind of just kept on going. So I'm going to leave this to dry overnight now, and then I will sand it all down tomorrow afternoon with whatever grit. I might have to come down to like 400 grit and then finish off with 1200 or something like that, and then clean it all down with Prepsol isopropyl alcohol, and then it's ready for colour. Okay, with the magic of video editing, here we are a few seconds later, and the filling and sanding has been completed. I've sanded it smooth, I think, and I've just cleaned it down with some isopropyl alcohol, and I believe, subject to final inspections, a bit rough just there, we are ready for colour. So the first coat of colour is going to be dabbed on with a sponge. I think that may be just to try and restore some of the grain, or the look of the grain, in some of the areas where I've sanded, it's filled smooth. And then the following coats by spray. So that is going to be next. I have been dabbling with the use of an airbrush. Just quickly show you, I've just repainted the sill trims, which are quite scuffed up, just as an experiment to see if I know what I'm doing with an airbrush. So yeah, stand by for the next steps. Exciting steps, colour. There's a little bit of dabbling going on. Something like that. I will continue. Okay, this is the first coat of dabbing with a sponge. Try not to get it all perfect at once. There's more coats to come, as I said, by spraying. It's still drying. I'll let that dry right off now. And then I'm thinking the next step might be to get the little airbrush out and part these seams and spray down those. Could be the next thing to try, but already looking miles better. And the bits that I've filled, you can't tell really where they might be now, to a degree. And I'll move on to the back. Gotta say, this is not too bad for the first coat of paint dyes via the sponge or the foam. It's basically dry. It's a bit patchy here and there, but that's to be expected, so I'm told. I might do another coat with a sponge or on those areas where it is patchy, but the areas where I've filled, not really unhappy about that. It's still going to show these old creases, and that's going to be in keeping with the age of the car. I'm not after minty new seats in this car. At the same time, it's going to be a vast improvement on the horrible, crappy driver's seat that's in there at the moment. This passenger seat I'll be refurbing in the same manner. Remembering this is a passenger seat out of a wreck that I'm going to put this squab onto the driver's frame in the car, swap it over. So I'll leave this for today. Do something with that. It's getting a bit cold in air temperature now to be doing any more, I think. And it's 1 o'clock anyway, so more to come. These have had 2 coats of foam pad paint, and I've just used the airbrush. This airbrush I got off Trade Me for $95 on these seams, and stitching up and down here and in a few other places along here as one coat. So yeah, these are very simple to use. It's a water-based paint, very easy to use, very easy to clean. Highly recommended. I'm going to use this on some of the door trim, the small areas of leather on the door trim. So yep, going well. Next step will be proper coats. Proper, but change the method of delivery. This is a spray gun off a cheap Chinese site again. I think it's a 0.8mm tip. Going to give it a go. And I'm going to spray a couple of coats of colour on it and just build it up until it's nice and even. It's already looking pretty good now, but a couple of spray coats will just make the thing. And then after that, it's the clear coats, a satin matty type clear. Adding also, I'm just using my normal paint compressor for the airbrush and also for the normal paint, spray paint gun. I've just turned the pressure down for the airbrush. Okay, next stage is spraying colour. So it's a little bit chilly outside this afternoon. I've chosen the warmest part of the day, but it's still only about 15 or so outside. So I've got the sun shining on the garage door. I've got a oil heater going, and it's just nudging 18 degrees, which is kind of around the minimum you'd want. It feels okay in here. So used a bit of colour. Here's my spray gun, and I've been applying some light coats of colour. Haven't thinned it down. It's a water based. Haven't thinned it down, just poured it straight in the gun and sprayed, and it seems to be working okay. So I've done the sides and back of the upright, and I've done the entire base with a couple of coats of colour, and yeah, it's evened out now. It's looking good. I will do a brief video of me actually doing some spraying to prove you that I do actually do some stuff and not just film. Actually, I think I'm out of paint. Headrest, I didn't do any sanding or major cleaning. It was pretty clean, so I've just sort of cleaned it back with the solution, the cleaner, and sprayed it. I didn't sponge it. There you go. So I've turned the backrest over and rested it on some axle stands so as the sides keep drying, and I will give this a couple of whiffs of colour. So here are the backings to the seat. These have previously been cleaned down with liquid sugar soap, hot water, and I've just cleaned them down with the leather prep solution, which is over here, same as I used on the leather. And then I've finished wiping them down with just normal wax and grease remover, or prep sol, whatever it's called. Notice how they've gone a bit pinky over time. Maybe the light doesn't show it, but that's more pinky, and that's the original tan sand beige that was under this top cover. So they are ready for a whiff of colour, which I will now do. I'll prop this thing open a bit without trying to wreck it, to get a bit of colour into here. Let me do it. Position. Do for one coat. Okay, there you have it for colour, I believe. I've given these a couple of coats. They're looking good. Looking factory fresh. Well, I wouldn't go that far. For the gun, don't don't overthink it. It's only paint. That's the fan width control, so I had that full open, and you have a vertical fan. That's the fluid supply, so have that about half, and as you press you get air first, and then when you press further you get fluid. So that knob alters when the fluid starts and how much fluid you can open up. So you can regulate that with the throttle regardless of where you've got that setting there. And then you have this knob here is the air supply. I usually default, most people seem to have that full open. And as far as pressure goes, I have it on about, the red number's 25 psi. It just feels about right for this gun. It's a 0.8 mil tip I'm using here, which is relatively small. Like when you're spray painting a car, you use a 1.3 mil tip. This is 0.8. Seems to be doing a nice job. Not a lot of overspray. It is water-based stuff. The gun cleans up easily, so it's all very easy to use. So next up will be what we call the finish coat, or a clear coat. I'll get these things out. We've got them out before. So that's leather finish, the clear coat, matte and gloss, and you mix together proportions of that to give your desired sheen. And from what I read with BMW, you tend more towards the matte side, so you might go 75% matte, 25% gloss in your mix up. And this binder stuff you can add to the, I've already done this. I thought you could add to the clear coat to give it a bit of strength, but I could be mistaken for this Crosslink Eco stuff, where you add a bit of this to the leather finish to give things a bit of strength. So yeah, I'll be using those 3 items there in my clear coating of this, which will hopefully happen tomorrow. Okay, next day I am all set up again, ready to go for the clear. I have mixed up some leather finish. I may have mixed a bit too much up, and I've put a bit of this Crosslink Eco into as a strengthener, so I'm just going to repeat what I did with this lot and spray 2 or 3 coats of clear. Okay, so 3 coats of matte clear have gone on all these items, and it's been drying for a little while. Looks all okay. So that concludes the painting of this set. Now we've got to put it all back together, as I've already described, and put it in the car. So the final installment will be back in the car. Well, it's a few months later, and we are continuing with this interior refurbishment. I have got the driver's seat now all complete and back in the car. I didn't show assembling it. I had to swap pads, foam and seat frames around a bit to get what I wanted. I found out that the seat back, the motors in the seat back were different wired. They were 3-pin motors, or 3-wire motors, not 2-wire motors. So had a bit of fun changing all that around. But anyway, here is the current status. Here is the driver's seat, all back in, looking good and going well. I've got the passenger seat out now, and I've got the glove box and B-pillar trim and a few other bits and pieces out, the top of the center console out, and I'm going to paint those. And today's the day for all that. So I've just got that clamp on the center console, trying to retrain it into behaving and being where it should be, and it's just spread out a bit there. So today's mission is to paint the passenger seat and various bits of trim. Here is my oven. It's a nice winter's day, but it's only about 12 degrees at the moment, and we need it to be a bit more than that before we spray some paint around. So I've got stuff in there. Let's go inside and take a look at the job. Here is our work for today. Gonna spray it in here. It's water-based paint, as I've already probably mentioned. It doesn't travel that far. I'm not using high pressure to spray it, so overspray is not going to be an issue. Got a couple of cars in here that are covered. They'll be fine. And currently it's 13.4 degrees. I've only not long shut the garage doors and the side door, and it's heating up nicely now, so maybe in an hour's time it'll be up to temperature. We're aiming for about 18. So here is the passenger seat. You'll note, obviously, I've kept it completely intact. I was having a real nightmare trying to get these back panels off, thinking I was going to break something. I managed to do it on the driver's seat, but not this seat, so I don't need to take them off. So I'm going to paint it intact as is, and it's cleaned up quite well with the scouring pad and the solvent. I've already dabbed a bit of colour on it. There was a hole up here I've filled, and it's all ready for paint, for spray, as is the B pillars, the top of the center console, the little bit that goes behind it, the glove box here is all ready to go. That's a replacement glove box I got because the old one was broken, and just the seat trim covers. So I'm going to spray around the sides here, and then I'll do the whole surface here like this. I'll get in here while it's all laid back and just do what I can in this mode. And when that's all dry in terms of colour, I've got it, I can plug it into a 12 volt and I can sit the thing up and do the back of it, and then the back of the headrest, and then once that's done, we can do it all again with clear coat. So that's the aim of today's mission, and it's now at 13.8, 13.9 degrees, 13.7. So yeah, it'll come up nicely. I might go have a cup of coffee and come back and see what it's like. Okay, it's clouded over a little bit outside. It's got up to 14 point something degrees. I think we're just going to give it a go. At this temperature it feels okay in here. It is water-based paint. It's not as critical, I don't think, for temperature as it might be for a solvent-based paint like car paint. So got the gun, got the paint, haven't even tested it yet. There we go. Let's go, give it a go. Here. Just putting light coats on at this point. Don't want to go too crazy. Alright. The gun a bit tangled, the hose a bit tangled up. Oh, him getting some shot. I'll put the phone down in a minute, camera down in a minute, and continue. Seems to be going right. Luckily it's in good condition, and when the solvent cleaning process was going on, it actually took a lot more of the dirt off, so this set of gear is not going to really take too much colour. Okay, I'll leave the camera there and keep going, but so far so good. Okay, first coat on, except for the main side of the glove box, of course. Yep, not unhappy with this. I'm going to let this really dry off, tack off well, and then I'll do another coat, and then I may even put the clear coat through this area, and then just leave it to dry before I sit it all back up, otherwise it's going to stick together. Or I might just not put the clear coat in there, put another coat of colour on, and then sit it all up, and then do the back and finish off the clear with the clear. But it's pretty even colour. Yeah, looking good. Just thinking what this is doing for my bank balance in terms of not moving it too much, instead of paying someone to do this. It's got to be good. Second colour coat on. I think I'm happy with the colour now. I've got all the coverage. I'll let all this dry off, and then we'll go for clear coat, and the clear coat will be 75% matte and 25% gloss, as I've probably already mentioned, but I've forgotten I've mentioned. So yeah, I've raised the seat up a bit so it can support itself in this seated position. I've done the back as well, obviously. So yeah. Okay, job done. Clear coat's on and drying. I'll leave it for a while yet before I really manhandle it, but I've reassembled the seat on both sides, the seat buckle back on, and the bits of plastic trim. I've done the other bits too, but just sitting them in the back of the car over here. Weather's turned, it's going to get wet. So yeah, that's the glove box and centre console and B-pillars. You can see I'm going to have to do the back seat now. You can really tell the colour difference, and yeah, that centre console, don't know, might just have to do. I might just clean up maybe a bit more with some wax and grease remover or something. But yeah, it's a case of once you start something, it starts to look a bit patchy, but I don't know if I can be bothered taking that centre console out. It's a little bit of a faff, although it is easier with the seats out. But yeah, getting close for this part anyway. Right, well, this is where I was going to be leaving this video, but I think I'm going to continue. So what we've got, as you know, we've got the front of the car basically done. So we've got nice new, you could say, seats in the front, and I have painted various bits of the underdash and console. Because the seats are nice and fresh colour, there was a bit of a mismatch with the centre console and other bits of the dash, so I've painted the centre console just with a sponge. I've done a couple of coats of it in place and it's worked, and I've done this area here, and I've done the glove box off the car and just that little bit above the glove box as well. What I'm going to be doing is these inserts in the front door cards. I'm going to do both those sides, and I'm going to do the back seat. There's a bit of discoloration and some like glitter type stuff in the seat, so these are going to be whipped out and given a clean down and then a whiff of colour, and then it'll all be very simple to do and quick. May have to do that as well. So yeah, we will continue, but just as a refresh, I put a new insert, wood grain insert, in the centre console as well, with some aftermarket cup holders and a USB-C port there. Looks quite good. It's quite a good build, that stuff. It's not the cheaper ones you can get on the relevant sites, but that all is a big lift over what it used to look like. I've got some chrome rings in the cluster, and of course previously I've talked about the black headlining, pillar trims, and the rear parcel shelf and blind is all black now. The subwoofer enclosure, black C-pillar lights. So it's all looking rather spiffy now, if I may say so myself. So yeah, we'll finish off this video with this back seat, which will only be a couple of minutes of your time. Be a bit longer for me. We'll come back to you. Seats are out of the car. I haven't started to clean those down yet, but they've all been stripped down, and I'm about to paint these bits. So that's the centre bit of the seat and various bits of trim that I've stripped out. So I've cleaned them down, they're all ready to go, so I'm going to put some paint on them now. Over the hose. have to turn those ones around to get at that properly. See how this. Corner. Yeah. Stay still. Okay, that'll do for a first coat. I'll turn those headrests around to get at that lower edge there. When this dries, I will drop it down back into its case to do our final coats in the sealer. Yeah, looking okay. I've done all I can today. I have run out of product, I've run out of colour, and I've run out of sealant or top coat, clear coat. So these items are finished with clear coat, protecting headrests and the centre of the back seat, including the first aid cover. These items are finished. Just paint on these, I didn't put any sealer on those. They're done, and these have got the colour on it and one coat of sealer. Probably needs another coat when it arrives, but looking good. It's all consistent. The seat, the base of the back seat has been partially cleaned down. Not that area there, you can see the difference. See, I've done there, but there, haven't done that, haven't done in here. Kind of done this on this side. So more solvent is coming as well, more colour and more matte clear. I've got hopefully enough gloss clear to finish this job. So I've just got to clean and colour this and then seal it, and I've got some more sealant to go on the seat backs over there. So that's it for today. I'll put this all away and see you shortly. And the base. Just do a couple of coats, won't lay it on too thick, else it'll go a bit motley. Just giving each of the door cards a bit of a touch up on the wear points. So I've just been spraying the left hand side and I'm just preparing the right hand side. Sometimes you've got to check that it's actually spraying anything with these little airbrushes, but that's good coverage. 2 coats now, so I think that'll be done. I don't know if I'll bother with sealant over the top of this because it's not really a wear item, but I'll think about that. Just completed the 2 coats of colour on this door card. It's looking good. I'm just waiting for it to dry off a bit, and I'll put some clear on. The other 2 are finished. The other 2 sides are finished. That's just tacking off. I haven't screwed the door handle back in yet, but that's, yeah, miles better. I have got these things here. I'm gonna see if I can do something with just to pencil touch those, maybe. Same on here somewhere, or there. May have to make a little bit of a darker solution, maybe. I'll see what I can do. But yeah, miles better. I think we are at the end of this video. The car is all back together as far as the interior goes. I wouldn't say exterior, it's another subject. But we've finished the interior for the meantime. I've probably got a little bit of carpet cleaning to do. There's a couple of bits I did not refresh, but they are pretty good. So seats are all done. Headlining, C-pillars are done. Dash has got some rings. Spoken about all this before, but there's the center console, the cup holders and USB. All the plastic bits have been painted as well. Everything's nice and fresh and looking really good. I can say I'm very, very pleased with how this has turned out. Maybe I've put, you could say all up, maybe New Zealand $1,000 at this, but man, you drop this in somewhere and say please do this, you'd be looking at, oh God knows what. But yep, glove box is done. Still got a couple of marks I'm working on. This has been refreshed. The driver's side was pretty ugly. We're in elbow sat for a lot of driving, but that's all nice and refreshed. So thank you for watching this. It's taken me months to do this. Hopefully it's only taken you less than an hour or so to watch this. If nothing else, it's a good insomnia treatment for you, listening to my dulcet tones. So yeah, the bumpers are off, as you can see. That's next. That's the rear bumper I've sanded down. Back bumper's out in the back shed. Been sanding down with a bumper trim and filling and so forth, getting it all ready, repairing. So I'm going to be painting the sills and the black bumper bits, so I can put that all back on the car, and then we'll be thinking about starting the big sand down to prep for paint, which is the next big thing. So yeah, thank you for watching. Hope you've enjoyed this, hope it's been informative, and we'll see you again sometime. Bye for now.